Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. I'm sure all of you all had a great Diwali. Okay, my today's topic is not very exciting, neither is it positive. My today's topic is, are we becoming a police state? And if yes, how does one identify it? That's my topic for today. Let's get right into the show. You see, in a democracy, there is judiciary, and then there is executive, and then there is legislature. These are the three pillars of democracy. Media is also there. Let's start and end with media fast. We all know where media stands as far as the democracy is concerned and how strong that pillar is. So let's throw media out. Now let's talk about executive and legislature. Executive and legislature are supposed to be supporting democracy, not each other. You see, the reason they are called pillar is because all these three, they support the concept of democracy. Democracy rests on them. It is not that these people support each other. These pillars support each other. फिर pillar कहाँ से हुआ? Correct. But unfortunately, what we see is the executive is completely under the control of the legislature. And the judiciary at least looks as if it is desperate and helpless. So when the executive and the legislature rules and the judiciary is helpless, the nation turns into a police state. I will try and explain to you what I mean by this. Do you remember that case in Muzaffarnagar, Uttar Pradesh, where the teacher had asked the students to slap that Muslim student? Do you remember that case? I'll tell you what the Supreme Court said on that case. The Supreme Court says we find the state of Uttar Pradesh, in particular the education department, not complied with various orders passed by the court from time to time, starting from 25th September. No proper counseling has been conducted for the victim child and other children involved, the court says. The court is not ordering, the court is pleading. This is frustration. This is what happens when the legislature and the executive has more power than the judiciary. And the judiciary is just mere standing in the side and getting frustrated and shouting on the top of his voice. It's not the first case. Speaker giving interviews but not doing his job. Supreme Court gives final opportunity to Maharashtra Speaker on disqualification plea. Remember the Maharashtra Speaker I've been talking to you about for so many days. Maharashtra Speaker who was supposed to take a decision on Uddhav Thackeray, Sena and Shiva Sena, the disqualification case. The Speaker was given a reasonable time. The reasonable time technically ended by August 10th. August, September, October, November, and the Supreme Court is still saying, Baba, do it. Please do it. You didn't do it in August, you didn't do it in September. Now they have given time till 31st of December. Let us wait and watch whether 31st of December any decision is going to take place. Standing on the side and just shouting, pleading, literally, Supreme Court. No money has come to Manish Sisodia. How will you bring him under the Money Laundering Act? Supreme Court asked ED in Delhi liquor policy scam. Look at the way Supreme Court is desperate. It is shouting, frustrating, complete frustration. Because somewhere down the line, the legislature doesn't want to listen to it, doesn't listen to it. And on the other hand, now let us look at the executive. An arrest happens like this. Sisodia got arrested, Sanjay Singh got arrested, there Chandrababu Naidu got arrested, Sanjay Raut got arrested, Anil Deshmukh got arrested. Arresting happens like this, right at a drop of a hat. So now think about it. Who is powerful? Is the judiciary, which is standing in one corner and saying, please do it, please do it, please do it. How are you doing this? How are you doing this? This is wrong, this is wrong. And yet not getting a response. Or the executive, the so-called investigative stroke enforcement agencies, that at a drop of a hat arrests a person, especially political opponents. You think, where are we headed to with this? You think where the country is headed to. Because this is what you call a police state. A police state is a state where there's only one king. And that king, if you go against him or that group, the next day, some people will come and pick you up. Then in this case, it could be ED, it could be CBI, it could be IT, it could be police. Somebody will come and pick you up. And this is why I said that are we turning into a police state? Now, one more point that I wanted to make in this editorial is the failure of the Chief Justice of India. I call it the failure of Chief Justice of India because possibly we had put a lot of hope in the Chief Justice of India. When D.Y. Chandrachud was made the Chief Justice of India, and when we came to know that he is going to be there till 2024, a lot of us thought that here there is a man who can now ensure that there is some part of democracy left in this country. Now there is a man who will bat straight, who will ensure that democracy is maintained, rule of the law is maintained. But then as we see, the only good thing that has come out of the Supreme Court and of a lot of judges are statements. But finally, what happens? What happened to Bilkis Banu? What happened to those wrestlers? What happened to Sisodia? He's still back in the prison. What happened in Manipur? What happens to all those statements? Is Manipur getting justice? Violence still continue in Manipur. If you guys don't act, we will. Have they acted? What are they waiting for? Another die? So, somewhere down the line, my editorial today is also part of a larger frustration. Frustration because nothing was working. I hoped that there would be this Supreme Court and this Chief Justice would make a lot of difference. And finally, what I find is, I'm sure his intention would be right. And his statements are perfect. But action, almost nothing. Now let me talk to you another aspect of this democracy being crumpled, crushed. You see, a governor's job is to be the representation of center in the state. His job, like I've told you many a times, is to assist, help, motivate the chief minister and the state government to do better. Because when a government sits in that assembly hall, he says, my government. He doesn't say the BJP government or the Congress government or the Shiv Sena government. He doesn't say that. He says, my government. And you know why he says, my government? Because figuratively, he is the head of that state. And it is his government. You know why all this, technically speaking, I still don't understand why we have a governor, except for giving somebody a beautiful bungalow and spending a lot of taxpayers' money on him. I still don't understand the logic, but theek hai, chalo. The intention of having a governor was to build a bridge between the center and the state. So he, mind you, is the bridge. But you know what happens now? The bills passed in the assembly, if the bills are not something which the center likes, because the governor is appointed by the center, so the governor is not aligned to the state that he is sitting in, or he or she is sitting in, he or she is aligned to the political party in the center. So if there is a bill passed in the assembly that the political party doesn't like, nahi deta hai. He doesn't give. So the same bridge, he breaks, or she breaks, whatever. The governor breaks. The bill is never sent to the president for his signing. So the assembly, which is elected by you and me in our state, we elect the assembly, they represent us, they debate, they approve on a bill, they get majority in the assembly, the bill is passed by the majority in the assembly, but just because the governor doesn't want and the center maybe doesn't want, they don't pass it. Look at what happens to our democracy. To conclude, You have a situation where the judiciary seems to be standing ringside and just shouting in frustration, saying that this is wrong, this is wrong, that is wrong, this is wrong, this is how it should be, this is how it should be. I told you, why don't you listen to me? I told you, why don't you listen to me? That's the status of the judiciary at the moment. You have the legislature completely in control of the central agencies, the enforcement bodies, and ruling this country not through bills, not through parliament, not through house, not even through the judiciary, ruling this country through the investigative agencies. That is one set of situation. That's the current situation, what's happening. As far as the states are concerned, you have governors who are supposed to help the state to build a bridge with the center, are the same people who are breaking it. People's mandate. In all these cases, people's mandate is what goes down the gutter, what is flushed down the toilet, as they say. That's the point I wanted to make. I'm sorry I didn't have a very exciting or a very positive or a very feel-good editorial to give you tonight. I'm sorry about that. Till I see you next time. Namaskar.